let us understand what are the observable inputs as mentioned in the IndAS 113 as label to input. Label to input which is available in the public domain. So observable inputs are publicly available information about actual events or transactions. That is your ऑब्जर्वेबल इनपुट. और यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा सा बता दूँ, देखो चीज़ें उतनी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं हैं जितनी कई बार हमको लगती हैं. हमको क्या करने की ज़रूरत है, हमको सिर्फ कॉन्टेक्स्ट सही करने की ज़रूरत है. अगर हम कॉन्टेक्स्ट सेट राइट करते हैं तो बाकी चीज़ें आसान हो जाती हैं. व्हाट आर वी ट्राइंग टू डू एज वैल्यूएशन प्रोफेशनल? वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड फेयर वैल्यू. प्लीज रिमेंबर, वी आर नॉट ट्राइंग टू फाइंड एनी वैल्यू. We are trying to find fair value, because if any value was to be found, the government did not need the qualified valuation professional, because if any value has to be given, then anyone can give. If the fair value has to be given, then it has to come from only a registered, qualified, competent valuation professional. So for giving the fair value, can we use anything out of our mind, choice and will? And the answer is yes, and the answer is no. Answer is no, because there are certain parameters that have been laid down. And what are the parameters which have been laid down? Parameters that have been laid down, number one is you have IndAS 113 that talks in terms of the fair value hierarchy. So we have to work within the fair value hierarchy as prescribed in the IndAS 113, which is on fair value. Likewise, we have the valuation standards. So valuation standards also spell out as to what norms have to be followed for the valuation. That also we have to do. So within these broad contours or limitations, we can use our discretion, and only we have to ensure that the discretion that we use is for the purpose of arriving at a fair value. We do not use the discretion for the purpose of arriving any value, because if we use the discretion for arriving any value and not fair value, then we are not being fair to our profession. And that is why IndAS 113 talks in terms of label 2 input, and that is observable inputs or observable information or observable data. So what are the examples of observable input? Examples of observable input: number one, securities traded on stock exchange. So public domain में information है, it is an observable data. Number two, prices for identical or similar assets in markets that are not active. That is, for example, market data for sale of comparable lands and building. So that is number two, which is comparable, which is observable input or observable data. Number three is quoted price of future contracts. So remember, one is the quoted price of the scrip as such in the spot market, and second can be the quoted price for the scrip in the futures contract. So that can also be used as a reference in case of commodities exchanges. And finally, what is an observable data? Observable input is available market data for rentals of properties. So these are the informations which are available in the public domain, and these informations which are available in the public domain can be used for the purpose of valuation in case if the label 1 input is not applicable or is not available. That means what? If a company is listed, then of course you will have the level 1 input available. If the company is not listed, then obviously you will not have the level 1 input available, and therefore you will have to resort to the level 2 input, and that is your observable inputs. And these examples is what we have discussed just now as to what are all the examples of observable inputs, observable information. Please remember, what I have discussed with you is only an indicative list of the observable inputs. It by no means is supposed to be an exhaustive list of observable inputs.